Now, if anything, the final edition of the Zondo report into state capture shows that Prasa has gone off the rails. Chief Justice Raymond Zondo has recommended a commission of inquiry be set up to probe the Passenger Rail Agency of South Africa. Let's unpack this now with the director of the Economic Modelling Academy, that's Professor of Practice at University of Johannesburg, Research Associate at Oxford, and former Statistician General of South Africa, Dr. Bale Lekgotla. Doctor, good morning and thank you very much for your time. You wrote a very interesting article, I must say, on the back of the release of the final state capture report, asking a very relevant question of where to now. Are we now perhaps after that report on the brink of a new era or still captured? Where to? Where are we?
I think we are still very much captured. It's going to take some time before we get out of this capture. I don't think it's something that will stop today. We are still very much deep in the capture and we need to understand that. I think if we appreciate that, then we have a possibility of moving forward. But the brink of a new era, not yet.
Mm-hmm. Take us through the three scenarios or pathways South Africa is likely to traverse here from onwards.
Well, there are three scenarios that we have developed under Indula Mete scenarios, which is Isibujwa, Naila Walk, and Gwara. What step back is that we went into a scenario called the future we chose, which is what my article actually captured in the three outcomes of Muvango, Ngalakata, and North yet Uhuru. And we went into Muvango, which was the worst scenario of the three not so glorious scenarios. Now we are in that stage of Muvango, but we are actually moving into Gwara in terms of the Indula Mete scenarios. And the economic plan is not going to take us out of that. That's why I'm saying we are yet to see the West. The West is not over because the economic recovery and reconstruction plan, it's anchored on the deepening of the old, which was Isibujwa. So we are heading for West things at the moment. Mm-hmm. And the three scenarios of Isibujwa, Gwara, and the Naila Walk, Gwara is the West scenario where the land is a land of disorder. And if you look at Prasa going off the wheels, ESCOM being where it is, all these are state institutions that used to function very well. They are being parceled out, sold to the private sector in the hope that they will come back. The point is, it's not. I mean, these institutions have to belong to the state. They need better management. Private sector is not the solution because within a very short space of time, prices will shoot. The public will not afford it. And the private sector, the monopolists don't care about these things. For as long as they price in what they can secure, it doesn't matter what happens to the rest. Mm-hmm. That's the essence of the private sector. These are monopolies that require to be in the hands of the state. Unfortunately, the ruling party has done a very bad job about this. And they have actually made state monopolies an ugly thing, which is not. Under apartheid, these things worked. These state monopolies. In China, state monopolies work. So it's not true that they don't work. And the private sector is very eager to find and pick up what they can pick and then price it at prices that are almost unaffordable. But because they know that they will actually target a small market or a particular market, they'll make their profits and run away.
Mr. Lekgotla, I want to take you back to your first answer that we're very much still captured. What then does the country do or government do in this respect? Because I even read an article by Professor Thuli Madonsela where she states that perhaps amnesty would be a better option to somehow break that web or dismantle the web of capture.
It is, and I think Professor Madonsela has dug very deep. Kim Mushweshwe, the father of the founding father of the Basotho nation, when the cannibals had eaten his grandfather, he forgave them and said he will not desecrate the graves of his grandfather. Perhaps it is those kinds of wisdom that we have to revert to and say, well, these are the graves of our money. the graves of our future.
But provided there's
They are
full
a living
disclosure.
monument.
But provided there's full disclosure,
Absolutely.
at least that's what she says.
Indeed, that's where the point I was getting to, that Kim Mushweshwe knew that he got them, arrested them, gave them fields so that they can stop eating other people because of hunger. Here we are seeing people who are eating because of greed. We have to cleanse the system, not to create conditions for greed. And I think our system at the moment is anchored in greed.
The report
And Milton Friedman and others say that greed is good. And that's what we have actually gone into. The neoliberal system cherishes greed. And these are the results of greed.
The report was very critical, though, of the African National Congress as a whole. Really, even the president admitting that they're accused, number one. This past weekend, we heard Gwede Mantashe actually reaffirming his position on cadre deployment, something that has opened somewhat of a debate in the country where others say it's misguided to, at this point, still after the commission has found that it's unconstitutional to continue in this manner, that he still defends it. What is your position on this?
Well, I mean, if you have a political... The Americans undertake a cadre deployment. If the Republicans come in, all the bureaucrats, top bureaucrats, get flushed out. They bring their own. I'm not suggesting that the constitution of the Americans is our constitution. It is unconstitutional. But cadre deployment, there's nothing wrong in deploying the best people. When you deploy the West under the guise of cadre deployment, then that thing is rotten to the core. And unfortunately, that's what we have done over the number of years. So that's what the problem is. It's about competence.
So it's not a policy?
Deploy cadres on the...
So it's, apologies, so it's not the policy, but rather the cadres that were then deployed in this respect, that perhaps it's well-meaning, the intention is good.
The intention is good, but train your cadres to be competent. Train them well and be sure that they deliver the right things when they get there. If you throw them in there because of loyalty to the party and not loyalty to the constitution and the people of South Africa, then we've got a wrong cadre deployment. Everybody is a cadre can be a good cadre for as long as they are well trained, they pledge their loyalty to the constitution and the peoples of South Africa and serve them.
Dr. Lekgotla, thank you very much for your insights. That's former Statistician General and the University of Johannesburg's Professor of Practice.